should you practice in medieval clothing? Something like this, what I'm having. So this is like early medieval stuff. So for example, I could have a hood like this, but I don't because it's quite hot. Then you have a belt, and then you have like a scabbard over here, and medieval shoes with very thin sole, so almost like barefoot shoes. So depends. If you're planning to fight in this kind of clothing, I think yes, because you need to understand what might happen with your clothing during fighting. For example, if you're wearing these shoes, they have leather soles, so they can be really slippery. So if you're practicing with modern shoes and then you only for the tournament you put on these medieval shoes, you might have a surprise coming. And if you're practicing outside on a wet grass, you definitely will have a surprise coming. So at least then you should modify the shoes before you fight. So for example, putting on some soles that got some traction. So I'm having rubber soles with some texture in there so that there is some traction. Otherwise it's going to be tough to fight. It can be even unsafe if you fall down, or if it's raining you can slip on a rock, and then that's game over. So that's one thing. Then you have these straps in the calf. So if you like those or have some Viking idea, yeah, they can look cool. But what can also happen during a fight that they unravel. So if you haven't been practicing with those on, you don't know, it can happen. It can still happen even if you know it, but you have to find a way to put this together in such a way that they won't come loose during a fight, because you might end up tripping and at least losing the fight, if not something worse. So that's one thing. Then we have these baggy pants. Not really Viking or anything, but they're just nice, and I wear armor under those typically, so there is some space. For these ones, there are really no downsides, I would say. Just get used to that kind of stuff. And then there are the belts, and oh yeah, there is one thing. The baggy pants, they are tied on with a string, so it can open up and the pants go down. Has happened to me in practice, so you need to tie it up tightly so Fanny could not, otherwise they can fall down. And if your pants come down in a tournament, it's really embarrassing. So try to avoid that. Okay, then we have this. This actually serves a dual purpose. It's usually on my left side over here. It gives a little bit protection. There is some padding inside to my hip or the leg. So it's like extra protection. I haven't had problems with this one really, but once again, same story, it's tied. So this can loosen up, no break in a fight, and then it can mess up your stepping if it falls down to your legs. So hasn't happened to me yet. Then the sword and the scabbard. So the scabbard can flail around. I usually don't use this in a fight, so it's not so critical for me. I often fight with sticks, not with steel. And then we have the what is this, jacket or gone? No problems with this one, but like with every piece of clothing, this can get hot. This is not wool. This is maybe linen or something like that. So you need to find something that's breathes the air, wicks away the sweat. So if you plan to fight in something like this, then try it out and see that it's not too hot for you. This one I don't use in a fight, but I have something similar but lighter. And the problem with this is that if the weather is windy, this can blow up to your face like this. So now you can imagine that that's not a good thing when you're having a fight. So you wouldn't know that unless you were practicing with this hood over here. And because this one has this liripipa, this flappy thing, it can also come around to your face if there's a wind or certain condition in the fight. So you wouldn't know that unless you have been practicing with this one. So maybe not the best idea for a fight, but it looks cool, so I like it. So that's the basics. So I would say that if you plan to fight in this kind of clothing, at least use it in your weekly sparring or weekly sessions, so you can feel good in it, and maybe do some corrections if you need to. But if you are using some HEMA, just gambesons or whatever, then maybe use those in your practice. But I think that practicing with the medieval stuff, if you plan to fight medieval, is the way to go. Although I wouldn't do it too often. These can wear down, it might be difficult to find the replacements. So I'd say that 1 time out of 3 I put this on, but 2 times out of 3 I practice in modern equipment, modern sports stuff myself. But once per week I try to have these on, just to be familiar with these. So when you go in to fight, you already know how this feels. So it's not a new feeling, it's the old feeling, and you have been fighting in those for a while. So definitely I recommend that.